Well, hello and welcome to Gmodism. We're back with building a little bit for Admiral Scoobyrocks, a little fleet, the Army of Gmodism Constabulary. So, let's go. Right. Here we are inside the game, and we have... I believe this is the version we kind of ended up with last time a little bit here. So we have like the general shape of the entire thing. I just realized this video might not be the longest in the series, because I think we showed a little bit too much, or I didn't properly save between the different iterations. Well, whatever. This is, as you saw it last time in the initial video in this little series. You can find a playlist in the description about the building of the entire constabulary. So anyways, here it is. This is a little thing. This is going to be called a state trooper, as you can also see in the initial episode 1. And it's of course going to be a, well, you might think it's gonna be some kind of attack thing, but it's gonna be a observational drone that's gonna keep a real good eye on the enemy, so to speak. So it needs a lot of eyes. Yeah, well, I think we're gonna go with the next iteration of this thing, which is this, kind of. At least if we do like this. Here we go. It kind of doesn't really stand straight yet. That's an issue. It was tremendously hard making this have some kind of balance in the air and finding the right AI components. Of course, this is something we're going to achieve at the end of this video, but I will tell you, it was not very easy. This has a very weird shape, and especially when it moves in air, it kind of doesn't want to be standing straight very much. So we tried to do some weird finicky things where we kind of added things that should be able to stabilize it. That doesn't quite work, and it just tried to save itself from time to time. In any case, at this little iteration you can see we have this little jetpack thing added there. Inside of here we got some very interesting weapons. See, I just mimic hidden some stuff here. And we're gonna have a shaped charge with some frag on it too, so we have some dual damage. And this is of course a 67mm Invictus round. Doesn't that sound absolutely amazing? I just realized I should give all the rounds cool names. I never really did that before. Anyways, we should go and check out the next iteration. So, here we have the next iteration. If we unlock it, I tried to switch to ion thrusters instead, because I wanted them to not absolutely irreversibly fail in case we get into the water. So I kind of just slapped them down there, and I tried to hide them away using just a, like not a porthole, but a duct as a mimic. Works pretty well. I have them set up custom as roller and pushers like this pretty nicely, and now you can see, yeah, you can see this is pretty cool. I don't even know which is unlocked or locked. Let's see here. Okay, I don't see that in the damn menu. Well, whatever. If we do like this and start building on it again, it's unlocked. You can see it just stands absolutely still there. I think it's pretty amazing, the stability we got it to have. And this little ion thruster is set on the arms, which move perpendicularly to the body, which is here, and the bottom part, which is there. So that's pretty amazing. And one thing we realized when we're building this, and I tested it out a little bit, is that it absolutely did not have any type of firepower with these guns. I tried to slap on some 30mm assault cannons on there, and also added some explosive EMP single IR pixel seeker things there, which is pretty cool. In any case, if we just minimize the parts here, you can see that inside of here we have ion thrusters, and here we have another ion thrusters inside some mimics, pretty surface level. The ion thrusters keep it in the air. We of course need to go backwards, and here we can see we have a 360 turret block. So this thing does move. And I think just to show you that, I'm just gonna rotate it a little bit like this. And build on this thing. Here inside you can see in the body we have some AI components that provide us with some wireless receivers. Like that, because we don't want to lose connection. Yeah, just to have some connecting up to this and also here. So this one connects to the Civs controller, so it's not like wireless, we just save some materials there. And this, here we have got one all-in weapon controller and a Civs controller there. And we have a surge protector, and up here we have the elevation turret, because of course it can move its arms as well, like this. So you can see it's pretty cool. It's real mecha-like. I really wanted this to look like some kind of really cool mecha thing. But that's really the purpose of this thing. I really crammed into some missile controllers and components inside the body here. It's of course going to be very sensitive, it's not really designed to take fire. And I even could pack in some interceptors here, which is pretty damn cool. The head is fixed, but that doesn't matter really much because it's turning its entire body to look. And we have a 360 visual camera to get initial detection. And we have a directional radar to get some radar signals in front of us. So that's like the baseline detection. And then of course we're having this thing, coincidence rangefinder, which is really awesome. That's like a 9-meter component too, so it's a large one. It doesn't look large when we minimize the blocks, but that can give some really accurate detections. I think it's the best one for what is it, like bearing on the target, which is super good for if this is, for example, supporting something that shoots slow things like crams. That's pretty vital. So of course this thing has a inside the AI here. You can see we have an inter-vehicle. That's an AI transmitter. Somewhere we have an inter-vehicle transmitter, or should have. Maybe it's a late. No, there it is. Inter-vehicle transmitter. We even have two in case we lose one. And that's of course because this is going to share the signal with the other crafts like that. Here we can see when we're flying, this little ion thruster is even trying to set up the roll here so that we're stable. Because we're tilting in this angle, this needs to compensate a little bit. So this is just placed here in order to make us keep upright even though we're aiming somewhere else, which is pretty neat. And we have a little thruster there too. I think it's pretty cool. We got some exhausts going there, and we even have some exhausts going here. So of course this is a fuel engine system, and we had to really be a little bit creative when it came to the exhaust like this to make it go out. But it worked pretty well. And we have a special engine, so we actually have two engines that are separate, because if we lose power we're gonna drop and we don't want that. And here we can see this thing. It's like a hybrid motor, but it only has one fuel engine block, so it's not like super efficient like that. But what it does is that this thing is burning very few materials, but when we are keeping at a low RPM, we have this supercharger here, right? And this supercharger makes it so that it's really like efficient when it's running on lower RPM. So when we're standing by, we are like burning a minuscule, ridiculously low amount of materials. Yeah, so you can see this thing here, 0.05. works pretty well. But it can even go up to generate quite some power if it is required, thanks to having this little injector piece here, which does us need to have more injectors. And that makes us have more exhaust. In any case, one thing that we lack that we will add later, we're gonna look at the next little iteration. This can just chill by there, now it stands still. So we're gonna go to the 7th iteration. If you see, we're added some really cool looking stuff here. You can see added a lot of cool looking things. Like that. And this thing now has, I believe it has, a shield generator. Or it is the last iteration that has that. Because I really felt that it lacked a lot of protection. Okay, it doesn't have that. But it still had some space for the engine power to take off. So that was pretty cool. But in other than that, it looks pretty similar. I believe it does. We have some of the engine parts exposed like this. Just got some more details, some more defining features. It's starting to look pretty darn cool, and we got a little red eye going on there. We're just gonna try and spawn something and see what happens, so you can see a little bit that they have a little hard time controlling themselves when faced with crafts like this, but they are doing some aerobic features, kind of, that is pretty decent. Like, they're doing a pretty good job at like not dying when moving like this. So it's not like all bad. But it also has some trouble even aiming. And one thing I noticed, these guys kinda has a pretty bad hit rate, you know? I don't know if it says inaccuracy. Does it say shots hit? Maybe it doesn't. Shots fired hit. No, it doesn't. Well. And this small caliber, 24 millimeters, that's not right. That's just because it was damaged. Well, it had a problem with getting damaged too. Anyways, next iteration. Here we have it. Iteration number 8. And you can see that this is starting to look pretty cool. We have the 67 millimeter guns right there. We have inside of here somewhere. Are you kidding me? Didn't I? Oh, anyways, next iteration, that means whatever. I removed those little guns we had here. You can see we had the miniguns because they just ended up not hitting the target very often. It was completely useless. I added some parts to these cannons to make them actually hit a little bit better. And the upgrades were mostly made to the cannons. So the shell itself is upgraded. It has more payload, high explosive, frag, and some flak to look cool. And of course, some visible tracers just to be a little bit extra cool. It's still the Invictus round though, but I guess it's the Invictus round Mark II, who knows. Anyways, it just works better, and we added little balloons, if that was added before, I don't know. But anyways, we added some balloons to make it deploy in case we get into the water. Can get us out of there pretty quickly and not die by torpedoes or whatever. The missiles prove to be the heavy lifting damage dealing systems. So we are still having the single pixel IR seekers here in this cool missile tube. So that's of course just mimic blocks on top of them. They are not more protected than before, but they look damn cool, that I'll have to say. And these things, the ion thrusters for roll, they're kind of hidden away, removed effects on them, so they are only here for function, but not for the visuals. So it kind of looks like a gun part more now. Now, I added a spotlight, and it's set up to reach 500 meters. I thought it would be pretty cool that if this aims at something during night, the observer, the state trooper, just lights the enemy up while keeping actual targeting on them and sharing that with the friendly units. That would be some pretty cool teamwork, yeah? So we have, anyways, our radar going on there, but then we also got this new texture. So that's an IR camera tracker, and this is the laser rangefinder that we added here because they provide some pretty good detection as well. So we kind of upped our detection game here, and we're gonna look at almost last iteration. Oh, and I will also say this is the ninth iteration. There is also some stuff that you don't see, where I worked quite a bit on making the vessel work really well with maneuvering and the movement that is done that you can't see. But I had to tweak the AI and the PIDs and all that quite a lot to even make it work properly. In any case, now you can see that we added something new. Now, finally, it actually has a shield. So when this goes live, like when this goes in action, we are regenerating our dark red shield, which is the hallmark of the Army of Gmodism, the dark red shields. And these has been upgraded to laser designator, so we're actually laser guided dismissals, because the single pixel IR seeker ended up not hitting the target very often. So we added a little missile laser here, hidden behind some glass, basically this piece in specific. You like, yeah. Maybe it doesn't even have a protection in front of it, that's glass. But anyways, it looks like glass. So it's like some sneaky stuff. Yeah. And we have the laser guided missiles, and I believe they are set up to aim at our team's lasers. So if we have 1 or 2 observers or something like that, this won't be it will still work basically. Anyways, it's starting to look really amazing. I think the State Trooper is a really cool observer aircraft. It's technically a observer aircraft, so it's kind of real-time surveillance, basically a little bit like UAV, but it has some defensive applications too. It can defend itself decently, but at the cost, I don't know, probably our fighter jet is a little bit better. Anyways, let's look at the last iteration. Here we have it. Let's look a little bit at the AI. AoG, O as in observer, that's my naming convention. I have my naming conventions listed, pinned comment, in the hashtag Army of Gmodism section in our Discord. If you can't see that, that's because you haven't self-assigned yourself to the role Matros 3rd class. You need to be enlisted in the Army of Gmodism to see it, or if you're a commissioned officer at Patreon, you can of course see it too. Anyways, about that, we should definitely just quickly mention the other supporters in the Army of Gmodism, which is Admiral Scoobyrocks12345, which we're building this fleet for now, Commodore Owen, Lieutenant Anto, Cravey, Parbagrid, and Vincent Veritas. Thanks a lot for supporting the channel every month, it helps me a lot. And now we're gonna look here, combat distance, kinda 300 meter. We have combat altitude of 300 meters, so combat distance and altitude, pretty similar there, can use both sides. It's a circle at distance. Yeah, that works best, I found out in my testings. Yeah, then we have some minimum altitude, some max altitude. We have iron thrusters, so we are pretty flexible actually, but we're just keeping it where it fits the best. Hover movement might look a little bit more stable sometimes, but the 6-axis ended up being the best efficient way I could set it up. We have auto start, we even have projectile avoidance, which is pretty cool. So when we are seeing, when we're getting targeted, we're actually going upwards a little bit, I think it was, which is pretty cool. And then we also have named the AI. We have used the remote brain powers of one of our cadets in the Army of Gmodism, Cadet Corey Dunn. So thanks for supporting the channel too, of course. In any case, we added the emblem here, the AoG logo, and I uploaded this to my Google Drive, which I shared in the Army of Gmodism Discord, so that anyone can use them when I build some AoG inspired stuff, if that is the case. Because the old Discord links we were using, well, they're not working anymore. It's really sad. So I already spent like 2 hours or whatever on like updating emblems on AoG fleet official ships I have. Pretty annoying. The Gimli is updated on Steam Workshop, so if you download the latest version, it will have the emblems and stuff. In any case, I added some mimics, just some decoration, making it look pretty cool. And here's basically like the final result of this thing. It has some pretty decent detection. It shares it. It's doing its job, lights up the enemy. Laser designated control. And of course, the Invictus round. So I'm pretty happy with this project. We're gonna test it out a little bit with some deep water guard stuff. Now this is not combat focused. We're going to test it against the Duster first. So you can see that it fires some interceptors, missile interceptors, to kind of not get any issues with the combat. And it's doing some really weird moments, but it's more controlled than you'd think. And it usually avoids lots of shots like this, but this time we got annihilated. What a bad start. Oh no. So let us try this again. We're hoping for some less embarrassing results. I tested this before, but now okay. I guess it dodged this one. Doing some weird movements like this, and when we're hanging onto it, it just aims at the most weird angles and shoots down. But it always gains, it like always gains back its control. It doesn't have any issue of, yeah, it doesn't get shot very often, but of course it's standing pretty still in the air, so now you can see it's going back to chill mood, I believe, because the enemy is dead. By the way, we're having a top speed of 47 meters per second. And I kind of forgot to mention that, but I added more thrusters in the back. It was actually, believe it or not, pretty difficult to make this thing go that fast. It kind of only went like really slowly before. It's pretty annoying. I'll moving out like that. You kind of see. Now it kind of goes pretty stably. I think we're building up. You can see 46 meters per second. It's flying really stably. So it was a little bit difficult making it move pretty stably and forwards like this while still being agile and maneuverable during combat. But I think I succeeded at, and it gets hit less often when it's doing weird movements. While not perfect, I think it's somewhat a success. But in anyways, we're going to spawn. We're going to just set this to auto. Now it's going back instead. We're gonna spawn another Duster just to check it out a little bit. It fires the interceptors as fast as something got detected, so it may miss many of those interceptors, may not hit their mark, but it's better to fire too many than too few when we're having a vessel that can absolutely not afford to get hit. Anyways, we're gonna follow one of the Invictus rounds. They are not hitting super often when it's a small plane like this, but they do hit sometimes, and they actually do some pretty good damage. On a small plane like this, if we can hit with one of the Invictus rounds, it's usually enough. It can like often be just game over for the enemy, which is pretty cool. Pretty quick though. Oh, well, their missile came up when we had an AI death, so that's that. We didn't get damage, which is good. Let's try the Shrike, 34,000. Now, if you didn't see this, it's 20,000 materials. So it's pretty expensive, I suppose, but for what it does, it's, I guess, not expensive. Anyways, larger targets like this, we are hitting pretty reliably. We can spawn a Shrike again here. And you'll see there. Well, Here we got hit some shots, and there we got, oh yeah, that's the AI dead. It kind of relies a little bit on our weird missiles. So if you're wondering, this missile is frag. This is frag 2, so we're doing the damage. This missile is explosive plus EMP. It's kind of combo damage. Works pretty well against aircraft. Ooh, got shot. 70,000. This is a scary thing, because if it hits you, you're gonna be sad. And this is a good moment where our weird movements can come in handy. However, we kind of died there. It's kind of 50-50 which one dies first. But we are 20,000 against 70,000, and the main purpose of this craft isn't to deal damage at all. It's actually only meant to provide a really accurate detection point and share it with others. So there you can see that our floodlight were kind of lighting it up a little bit there. And our Invictus rounds hit a little bit, so if we just detonate some ammo, we actually have a good chance here. Well, but oh, there our ammo goes. Well, in any case, I guess that is the State Trooper. It's a pretty cool one. I think it was really fun to build this thing. Well, there we got a lucky shot, but in any case, it was really cool building this thing. The State Trooper, I never built a mecha-like design that is this large. I made a super small droid thing that kind of got me a little bit inspired to even make it. If you remember when we built the Ryujin really big aircraft carrier with aircrafts, that kinda had oh yeah, we have a repair droid on this. In any case, that kind of had a super small little observational droid, and that was kind of the idea, but making one that's actually good and better and larger and that can protect itself a little bit. And here we have it, the State Trooper. So hopefully Admiral Scoobyrocks is really happy with this build, and we're going to continue next episode with building on the main thing, the Sheriff, or possibly building on the Sheriff Deputy, the little backup one-time hitter. It's gonna be an Alpha Strike vehicle. If you want to check out the full series and get some more information on the background of this fleet and what their different units will be, I really recommend the first episode. I feel it needs some more views because I think it was kind of hidden during under a mountain of other content I made when I published it. So you can check it out in the playlist below. In any case, this is your host Eric from Admiral, the Lord High Admiral in the Army of Gmodism, of course. I have been working on some lore for the Army of Gmodism, by the way. Pretty funny stuff. I don't know if you care, but it will be coming up in future videos. In any case, this is your host. I'm signing out, and I'll be seeing you next time, very much indeed. So hope you enjoyed, and if you did, leave a like, and I'll see you. Signing out.